The velvet interior of the carriage smelled of rain, expensive cedarwood, and the sharp edge of Elysian wine. Arya, now trapped in the fragile, doomed body of Elena Hartwell, pressed her forehead against the cool glass, her mind racing. Her survival plan was flawless. Break her engagement to K.L. Draven, the terrifying psychopathic mastermind who secretly controlled the Empire from the shadows, and flee the capital before the plot turned bloody. It was a brilliant plan, severely undermined by the fact that she had climbed into the wrong black carriage in her tipsy state. And she wasn't alone. "Are you quite finished using my window as a pillow, Lady Elena?" The voice was like silk dragged over broken glass. Arya froze. Snapping her head around, she met a pair of striking, midnight blue eyes. K.L. Draven sat in the shadows, a silver cane resting between his leather-gloved hands. The final boss of this world. "Lord Draven," Arya stammered, the alcohol evaporating instantly. This isn't my carriage." "Clearly," K.L. murmured, leaning forward. The dim lamplight caught the sharp, flawless angles of his face. He didn't look angry, he looked intensely amused. "Yet, you've been muttering about death flags and escaping for the last 10 minutes. Care to enlighten me?" Arya swallowed hard. In the novel, Elena was a timid creature who fainted at his sight. But Arya was terrified and desperate. She glared at him. "I care to leave. Stop the carriage." K.L.'s eyebrows arched. Emperors flinched in his presence. Nobody spoke to him like this. "No," he said softly. "Excuse me?" Arya snapped, leaning into his space. "You don't own me, Lord Draven. Let me out, or I will scream." K.L. stared at her, analyzing her like a grandmaster studying an unexpected opening move on a chessboard. A slow, mesmerizing smile touched his lips. "Fascinating," he whispered. That night changed everything. Arya's strategy of avoidance was completely shattered. Within days, K.L.'s presence suffocated her life. Rare winter roses arrived every morning. Silk from the eastern provinces filled her wardrobe. He didn't ask what she liked. He simply observed, memorized, and delivered. But the suspense deepened. Arya began to notice shadows following her. When a snobbish viscountess tried to humiliate her at a tea party, the woman's family went bankrupt by nightfall. K.L. wasn't just courting her, he was rewriting the economy of the capital to isolate her. He was building a golden cage. One afternoon, he cornered her in the palace conservatory. "Stop it," Arya demanded, slamming her book down. "Stop the gifts. Stop the guards. You are treating me like a piece on your chessboard." Kyle stood among the white orchids, looking impeccably elegant and entirely detached from humanity. They lacked respect. "I corrected the error to ensure your safety." "You are insane," Arya shouted, stepping right up to his chest. "People look at you and see a monster who manipulates wars for amusement. Do you even care?" K.L. looked down at her. For a fraction of a second, his untouchable mask slipped, revealing a profound, echoing emptiness. "They fear me because they want something from me," K.L. said, his voice dropping to a quiet, chilling register. "Power, protection, or mercy. You are the only person who looks at me and expects absolutely nothing. You don't even want my wealth, you just want me gone." Arya paused, the anger dying in her throat. She saw the suffocating isolation of a man who lived entirely in his own head. He didn't know how to connect, he only knew how to conquer. Terrified of the growing warmth she felt for a man destined to destroy the world, Arya made her move. She packed a single bag and took a carriage toward the northern border during a torrential downpour. 3 hours into the journey, a thunderclap shook the sky, and her carriage ground to a halt. The door was wrenched open. Rain lashed against the frame, framing K.L.'s silhouette. His hair was soaked, his eyes burning with a manic, desperate intensity. "Why do you run?" he asked, his voice cracking against the thunder. He stepped inside, bringing the scent of ozone and rain with him. "I gave you everything. Why do you look at me like I am a plague?" Arya exploded. "Because you don't love me, K.L. You're obsessed with me because I'm a novelty. I won't be owned by a psychopath who feels nothing." K.L. flinched as if struck. He closed his eyes, leaning his head against the carriage wall. "I know," he whispered. The silence that followed was louder than the thunder. "I know there is something wrong with me. Everything to me is a calculation to ensure survival. But when you look at me with genuine anger, or when you laugh without fear, the silence in my head stops. I don't want to own you, Elena. I just don't know how else to make you stay." Seeing the all-powerful villain look so utterly broken cracked something deep inside Arya's heart. He wasn't born a monster. He was forged in a world that never gave him a chance to be human. Reaching out, her hand trembling, she touched his damp cheek. Then let me teach you. But you have to stop playing God. The political factions of the empire didn't understand the change in KL, and that lack of understanding proved fatal. Thinking Arya was his weak point, a coalition of corrupt dupes staged a coup, sending a guild of elite assassins to eliminate her. They expected a calculated political response. Instead, they unleashed a demon. From the safety of the grand balcony, Arya watched the terrifying reality of Kale's power. He didn't just arrest the traitors, he systematically ruined their names, turned their own allies against them, and dismantled their bloodlines in a single, bloodless, psychological sweep. He moved through high society like a scythe, calm, smiling, and utterly merciless. When the dust settled, Kale walked into Arya's chambers. The scent of iron and rain followed him. He stopped a few paces away, his silver cane clicking against the marble floor. He didn't approach. He just searched her face for the revulsion he expected. "Are you afraid of me now?" he asked, the vulnerability returning to his voice. "Now that you have seen exactly what I am?" Arya walked toward him, her footsteps steady. She stopped right in front of the Empire's most dangerous man. "Yes," she said honestly, "you are terrifying, Kale." Kale's shoulders slumped, his eyes dimming as he began to step back. But Arya caught his gloved hands, holding them tightly. "But I love you anyway, because I know you did it to keep me safe. Just promise me next time we try diplomacy first." Kale blinked, a sudden, breathy laugh escaping his lips. The darkness in his eyes cleared, replaced by a warmth the original novel had never recorded. He pulled her against him, burying his face in her hair. The mastermind had finally won his greatest victory. Not by conquering the empire, but by surrendering his heart to the only woman who truly saw him.